Hello, everyone. I see that we have folks trickling in, and we're so excited that you can join us here. We're going to wait just a few more minutes as more people log in. So if you wanted to grab a quick drink or a snack, now's a great time to do so, and we will get started in just a minute or two. If you're just joining us, we are just waiting for folks to log in, and we'll get started in a moment. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Greetings from the Pacific Northwest. My name is Edward Trong. I am an Associate Director of Admission, and I am so excited that you're joining us here tonight. And we have a great program for you. I'm honored to be joined by some wonderful current students and some members of our science faculty today to talk about the different science and research opportunities available at University of Puget Sound. Just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. First off, this session is being recorded. So if you have to leave early or if you came in late, we'll have it available online at a later time. Also, if you have not been in a Zoom webinar before, please keep in mind that you can see us, but we can't see you. So you're muted, your camera's not on. So no worries about any sort of background noise. It is just us on camera. And we do have a Q&A function. So we do have some of my colleagues here in the Office of Admission who are available and monitoring the Q&A section. So if you have questions, we definitely encourage you to take advantage of the Q&A section on your menu, and we'll do our best to get through as many of them as possible. So we'll kick things off with an introduction from some of our esteemed panelists. And I would like to ask the students to begin and start off by telling us your name, your class year, your hometown, any majors, minors, and then maybe some of your extracurriculars or campus activities. So Lauren, would you like to do the honors to start us off?
Sure. Hi, my name is Lauren. I am a junior this year, and I'm originally from San Luis Obispo, California. I am a molecular and cellular biology major with an emphasis in bioethics and a minor in sociology and anthropology. Some of my campus activities is I am the treasurer for the Biological Honor Society here on campus called Phi Sigma. And then I also do research here at this university. I study microbiology and bioluminescent bacteria.
Thanks, Lauren. Up next, how about Anjali?
Hi, my name is Anjali. I'm a junior. I'm originally from Palo Alto, California. I'm a chem major, and I currently do research in the chemistry department, specifically on like green chemistry and organic chemistry.
Wonderful. And Bethany.
Hi, my name is Bethany. My hometown is Corvallis, Oregon, and I'm a senior studying biology and environmental policy and decision making. Um, I'm involved on campus. I play Ultimate Frisbee, which is a club sport. I'm one of the captains of that program, and I do research in urban ecology and also did research in microplastics.
Awesome. And we can't wait to hear from all three of you for more information about your research, why you chose Puget Sound, and any questions that you have from the audience. So we also happen to have the privilege of being joined by two of our science faculty members. So I'd like to ask Professor Stacy Weiss to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Stacy Weiss. I am a faculty member in the biology department. I'm a field biologist who specializes in behavioral and microbial ecology of lizards. And I love taking students out in the field with me to do research on these critters. My lab also does plenty of lab-based bench work. And I'm here in my lab now. You can see I have some fancy equipment, lots of refrigerators and freezers to store samples. And this is a typical research lab space. I'm actually fortunate. I have another room adjacent to this one. I've kind of sprawled my research into about 1.5 lab spaces. My teaching, I teach ecology, which is a required class for biology majors, animal behavior, which is an upper division elective, and then a non-majors intro-bio class called Evolution and Biology of Sex.
Thank you, Stacy. And we're also joined by Professor Megan Gessel. Megan, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Professor Megan Gessel. I'm in the chemistry department. I am an associate professor. I've been here for 7 years now. I teach, besides general chemistry, analytical chemistry and biophysical chemistry. So I have a PhD in physical chemistry. I ended up doing more biochemical research. And so I specialize in biological mass spectrometry. I am not in my lab right now, but I do have a lab space similar to Stacy's. I have 5 undergrads doing research with me, always a fun group to have. And we study how lipid membranes are affected by oxidative stress. And we use various bioanalytical techniques to study those things.
Great. So before we get started, just want to remind everybody there is a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. So we do have admission counselors available to answer questions. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat or the Q&A section, and we'll do our best to tackle those. So we'll start off, and I'd love to hear from Megan, just kind of a broad overview. Tell us about science at Puget Sound. What are some of the research opportunities, ways that students can get hands-on experience? Tell us about STEM and all of its different forms at Puget Sound.
Yeah, so one thing that is really special about Puget Sound is the fact that our science students really have the opportunity to do research at a really in-depth level if they wish to do that. And it's not always possible at other places. I think in all of our classes, and I believe Professor Weiss is going to talk more about classes, but a lot of our classes actually have some research-based experiences that are sort of longer research projects that students get to participate in. But in addition to that, we also have a really robust summer research program. So all of the departments, I know right now we just have students and faculty from biology and chemistry, but our geology department, physics department, and our math and computer science departments participate in our summer research program. It's a program that is quite well funded. This past year, we funded 60 students to do full-time research over the summer. It's proposal-based, so the student works with a faculty mentor to write a research proposal, and those are evaluated and the awards are given. And then it allows those students to do really in-depth hands-on research with their faculty member in whatever field that they're interested in. It gives a chance to really get to know the instructors, The topics that are available for research are really diverse because our faculty, we study a lot of different things. Our research resources are really fantastic at Puget Sound. We have state-of-the-art facilities, and we have dedicated staff members who help run those facilities. I think one special thing about Puget Sound is that the students get to use that instrumentation themselves. You're not just handing your sample off to a technician. You get to learn how to use the electron microscope. You get to learn how to use the NMR or the QTOF mass spectrometer. And then even if there's not, if we don't have it here, and we actually have quite a lot of instrumentation on campus, we actually also have access to UW. So I've had some students I've had trained to use some instrumentation up at UW as well. And the ability, I think the ability to use the instrumentation, work closely with your research faculty advisor is invaluable for students. A lot of science students are interested in research. Some don't know that it exists until they get there, and I tell them, oh, hey, I think you'd like to do this. Do you want to come work in my lab? But it's invaluable to see if you're interested in a career in research. If you are pre-health, a lot of medical schools like you to have research experience because it's such an important part of health sciences today. And it just really builds great problem solving skills. The other thing that we also do, we have school year research, so students can continue to do research in the school, or if they can't for some reason do it in the summer, they can do it in the school year for credit. So you can take research as a class for a class credit, and we have in our departments we have thesis options, so students can write thesis on their research. Some of our majors, like our chemistry BS major, requires a thesis. And I think also one concern I think students who are thinking about science is that when you're comparing a large research institution that's really well known for its research and a smaller school, I think some students are worried about the caliber of research and is it going to be very good. And I think in addition to our really fantastic facilities, I think that our record of grantsmanship for the faculty at Puget Sound is quite extraordinary. In all of our departments, we have multiple faculty that have secured major federal grants through the NSF and the NIH. I myself got a major instrumentation grant to purchase a mass spectrometer when I got here. Dr. Weiss recently won a very large grant, over $700,000 to do her research from the NSF. And these are really, if you're not familiar with this process, they're very competitive grants, and it really shows the scientific currency that our faculty has and demonstrates the standing that we all have in the scientific community. This is real research that's being published. Undergraduate students get to be on the papers that are published, and they get to present the research. We have students who present at national conferences as well as regional conferences. And it's just it's a really fantastic opportunity if you are interested in pursuing science as a career. So.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Appreciate it. On that research side, I'd love to hear more from Stacy about our facilities, the spaces we have, kind of a little bit more about the resource, the tools and access that students have to get those hands-on experiences.
Yeah, sure. So each faculty member has their own dedicated research space. So I gave you a brief tour of the space that I'm in now. But generally it is a comfortable space where you can have, excuse me, multiple students working at one time. During COVID, that's a little bit more difficult, but typically we can have 4 or 5 students kind of actively working in the lab at one time. As Megan was saying, we have a science core facility that has electron microscopy, all sorts of equipment. I don't have the list in front of me right now, but I should have opened it up. All sorts of equipment that is available for students to use. And again, as Megan was saying, right, the students are the user rather than just someone to pass off samples to. We have, our students through both their independent research, if they choose to do that, as well as class-based research. You know, our students are using state-of-the-art technology in terms of, you know, running DNA extraction, running PCR, analyzing sequences, doing bioinformatic work. All of this work is going on here in the science building at University of Puget Sound.
Thank you. So now I'd love to hear from our students, and I'd love particularly to start off with having each of them share a little bit about their particular research projects, you know, what they're researching, and then how they kind of got into that topic. So maybe we can start off with Bethany.
Yeah, I am in my second research project that I've done here at UPS now because I'm a senior. So I did a full summer of funded research in microplastics research, and I'm really interested in like conservation science, so I headed in that direction first. It was a pretty chemistry heavy project. Megan helped me with it a little bit actually. And that was something that I found through an advisor's lab. So my research advisor, I actually met when I visited campus. I sat in on one of his classes before I even was a student here, and we connected during my first year. And that was a project that I got into through his lab. And then the work that I'm doing now is on urban birds in Tacoma. It's a field-based project, which I think is more of my passion and direction for after college. And it's a project that I designed and proposed to my advisor. It's related to work that he does, but he works with seabirds. So it's something that I found myself and really designed to be something that is very feasible during COVID to get me out in the field. So I've been getting up at 6:15 and birding in town, collecting research all semester, and I will be writing a thesis on it next semester, which I'm very excited about.
Awesome. How about you, Lauren?
Yeah, so as I mentioned previously, I do research on bacterial bioluminescence. And I, from a young age, was always kind of super interested in bioluminescence from just watching documentaries. And when I came to this university, I had a first semester seminar with my research professor. And he actually approached me and asked me about my thoughts about doing research at this university, which was an amazing experience. And we kind of worked together to develop the project, which I'm currently working on. And I look at fitness changes and fitness costs in different variants of these bioluminescent bacteria. And so I had my first experience at summer research this past summer, and it was a great experience. And I found out a lot of really cool things, and it's great to work one-on-one with these professors because they're just as invested in your project as you are. And so they're a really great resource to bounce ideas off of and just have as support.
Wonderful. And Anjali?
Yeah, so I started research over the summer. I did like the summer research program here, and then I continued my research for all of this fall semester, and then I'm probably gonna continue on with that for this following summer and probably do my thesis on the same research. So I'm doing research in organic chemistry. Organic chemistry was like my favorite class, and while I was taking it, I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. So when basically there's like a research symposium in the fall semester where you can talk to various professors and see like what kind of research they have. And then you can also talk to them one-on-one and kind of get a better idea of like what you would be doing in their lab. So after that process, I found a project that I really liked and then worked on writing that proposal in the spring semester. And then, yeah, we were able to do the research. It was really cool. The project I'm doing is like just getting started, and I've learned a lot about kind of like all those like various little things. And like, as Lauren said, like, it's really nice to be able to work one-on-one. Yeah, it's a really great experience.
Sounds like it. And definitely from what I'm hearing from all the students here is, how important the relationship is between professors and students. So I'd like to go back to Stacy and have her speak a little bit more about, from the faculty perspective, what is the classroom experience like at Puget Sound? And how does that really prepare students to be strong researchers and scientists?
Yeah, great. I'm happy to speak to that. So in our classes, we have relatively small class sizes, and most of our classes across geology, biology, and chemistry and computer science have labs associated with them to give students hands-on learning opportunity. And these are faculty-led labs, so you're working with your faculty member both in lecture and in the lab section. We do have undergraduate assistants in some of our laboratories, and that's wonderful support for the faculty member. And it's also amazing learning opportunity for the student serving as the instructional assistant, right? Because as an undergraduate, you can get experience with peer teaching and in a kind of TA type of role. So our labs are typically in groups of 8 students per lab for an upper division class, or 16 students per lab for a lower division class. So it provides a really great way for faculty to get to know students, to get to know faculty, and just students to get to know each other and to build community, which we think is so important. We want to bring students into the sciences here at Puget Sound, and building community is a really important part of that. So in terms of the classroom size, usually there would be 2 lab sections for a lecture. So our class sizes are about 16 for the upper division classes, 32 for the lower division classes. And so we have these nice, small, kind of intimate learning environments. In terms of classroom style, I would say that each faculty member definitely has their own approach to the classroom. Dr. Gessel uses a flipped approach in some of her classes. I use more of a traditional lecture approach, but always with student engagement and success in mind. And genuinely, I'm so in awe by my colleagues. I'm surrounded by truly wonderful teachers that really have the student success at the heart. Like, we have no weed out classes. We only have bring in classes. We want to bring you all in and join us in our love of the sciences. Our class offerings are relatively broad, with plenty of interdisciplinary classes like chemical biology or biophysics or biogeochemistry. So there are a number of ways kind of for students to merge their interests. We have classes that have travel components. So there's a class that goes to Borneo, after the semester ends. And I would say our goal is not just to teach content within any given class, but also to help students develop skills that are going to transfer to any future career. So in my animal behavior class, which is an upper level class, I know not all of my students are going on to get a PhD in behavioral ecology, but I want them to gain skills about how to develop good questions, how to read scientific articles, how to think with a critical lens. And so these skills can be developed within any content, but can be transferred to whatever students go on to do. So just as one example of the way that we build these skills throughout our curriculum, and I'll take an example from biology since that's the curriculum I know best. So at our 100 level classes, our first year classes, our biology 111 students this semester are working together with their faculty to investigate, and this is in the lab component of the class, they're working together to investigate light receptor genes that allow different varieties of tomato to grow well in the Pacific Northwest, where we have a very short growing season. And so the research was set up by faculty, and it's based on the faculty members' research program, but our students are doing genuine, authentic research first semester here at Puget Sound. They are, well, if they were here because of COVID, they would be doing DNA extraction, PCR sequence analysis, bioinformatics, all of that true research work. At the 200 level, our students take a step up and they design their own experiments. So in my class, ecology, students do independent projects where they write a proposal, they develop their project, and they do like a 4 to 6 week data collection full with analysis, oral communication, written communication, presentation of the work. And at the upper division level, a lot of our students might be, the research might be based in the community. My animal behavior class does research at the Point Defiance Zoo, which is an amazing resource. And my students have studied polar bears and wolves and penguins and all sorts of fun and charismatic megafauna, thanks to this relationship with our community members. We also develop grant writing skills in our classes. And so I guess one thing that I really want to emphasize to all of you thinking about Puget Sound is that the science faculty are here because they want to interact with students one-on-one, right? We want you in our research laboratories. We want to get to know you as a whole you, because getting to know you is what brings us joy and what increases our job satisfaction. So come join us and see what we're all about.
Very well put. Thank you. And Professor Gessel, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I think that Dr. Weiss really gets to the heart of it. We are here to work with undergraduates. If we wanted to do research, we would have gotten jobs at a large university to do research. And we are here to teach and to teach students in the lab. And we're just so excited to do that. And I think it really shows in all of our faculty in all of the departments.
Sounds like it. So we've gotten some really great questions so far from our panelists, or from our audience, excuse me. So I think we're going to go ahead and take those. And this one, I think I want to start off with anyone who has an answer, feel free to chime in. But with everything going on right now with the pandemic and COVID-19, how has it been being a student or a professor? What has the classroom or research experience been like in these kind of very unusual times?
I guess one thing that I'd like to point out, I think that my biology faculty have done a really good job with, is thinking about how we can adapt. So not just like trying to recreate the same lab experience in an online teaching environment, but I'm taking animal physiology this semester, and while we can't do the same kinds of projects that we would normally, we've taken a lot of time to build really good statistical skills and data analysis skills, and then we're writing a full NSF style research proposal. So taking those opportunities to learn in different ways, things that we might not get to if it was a normal lab experience. And then I've also seen a lot of really cool adaptation with more field-based classes. So I took ornithology, study of birds in the spring. And even after we went online, we took time to get into the field independently, do bird surveys, and we were able to compare bird surveys from all over the country because we weren't all in Tacoma. So really cool adaptation, I think, is happening.
I'd also like to add that in terms of research, we were really fortunate this summer to be able to accommodate research students, and also during the school year. So even though our classes are all online, students who are interested in doing, or have been interested in doing research and wanted to do it, and who have faculty advisors who are willing to do it, have been able to come in and complete their research. We have really strict protocols. We have really limited, only so many people in a room, and of course everyone has masks, and so we have very strict rules, but the students are very responsible, and a lot of them were able to participate in research, which actually, talking to my friends who work at larger schools, most undergraduates were not able to do research last summer because they could barely get their graduate students in. So for undergraduates to be able to continue research this year has been really unique. And special. And I feel like there was something else, but.
I can just add one thing that I was concerned about with my COVID classroom and my COVID pandemic teaching was challenges in building community. And I mean, it hasn't been perfect, but I feel like, we have a week left to our semester, and I feel like students have found community within the class by using breakout groups regularly, by having, encouraging students to have study sessions together outside of class through office hours and this modality. We've been able to develop community, and that was one of my main concerns, was how I was going to be able to bring students in, and I think I was more successful than I feared. I'm pretty satisfied with the way it turned out.
That's great to hear. And Dr. Weiss, you mentioned a little bit earlier about kind of the field programs, like the trips to Borneo. And I know for a lot of prospective students, study abroad is definitely one of the top things that they want to do while they're in college. So can you tell me more about how can science majors, particularly those, maybe if you're pre-med and there's a lot going on, how do they make that work? What are ways that they can get international experience as part of their education?
Great. Yeah. So many of our science students do indeed work in study abroad into their curriculum. For biologists, and I guess for students in general, I see kind of two main types of study abroad programs: those where you go to a foreign country and take classes at a foreign university with a whole bunch of foreign students. But then there's also the more field-oriented, like School for Field Studies, where you might go to Tanzania and you're traveling around as a pack of American students, but traveling around to different areas and being more in the field versus in a university setting. And we see students successfully complete both types of these programs, and they're amazing. I think they're really positive learning experiences for our students. I've seen students come back from study abroad kind of with renewed or found enthusiasm, for their sciences. They dive deep into research afterwards and really, really have a strong positive relationship. And so we encourage our students to do study abroad if it's something that they're interested in. And your academic advisors here are your faculty. So once you declare a major, if you're a biology major, you have a biology faculty member as your advisor. If you're a geology major, you have a geology faculty member as your advisor. And so we're very familiar with the content and the flow of the classes and the curriculum. And so we can really help you devise opportunities for you to do what it is that you want to do. I don't see any problem with combining study abroad and sciences. They work really well together.
Can I add, Edward? I studied abroad in my junior year pre-COVID, barely got it in there, really lucky timing, but I did a field program in Patagonia and was able to do field research every day, pretty much all semester. And I'm a double major and it fit into my schedule. So that was a great experience. And a lot of my classmates have done the same thing.
You had read my mind. I was just going to ask if any of our student panelists had studied abroad. So great minds think alike, for sure. So a question, and this is for anyone who might have something to contribute, but so if you're undecided, maybe you're interested in STEM, but you don't know exactly what you want to study or what you want to specialize in, how do you go about finding that support? Professor Weiss talked about the advisors, but what happens if you haven't declared your major yet? How do you kind of funnel or narrow your interest down a little bit more specifically?
I was actually exactly in that situation. I came here thinking I knew I wanted to do some kind of science and double major in music, but I didn't know exactly what. So I started out with chemistry because a lot of the programs require chemistry, like biology requires chemistry, geology requires chemistry. And then from that, even though I did have a music advisor, and so whenever I asked my music advisor for questions, they didn't necessarily know. So actually I went to Megan because she was my second semester chemistry professor. And so I asked her for help of planning things out. So really, I think as long as you can find some kind of faculty member, they'll be more than willing to help you plan everything out and see what kind of options and what kind of your 4-year plans could look like.
Anyone else? Okay, so moving on, I think we've talked a little bit about in some of the students' experiences getting involved pretty early. So one of the questions we've gotten was how soon can you start doing things like research? Do you have to wait until you're an upper class student? What if you're a transfer student? Are these opportunities kind of restricted in any way based on your class standing?
They're not restricted at all. I've known previous students who got started their first semester of their freshman year. I personally got started my second semester of my freshman year. And a lot of these opportunities do come from building your relationships with your professors, which is a really great experience to have. Great.
And we hear the term sometimes we hear this term pretty often, interdisciplinary, right? So what is interdisciplinary research? How do the different subjects interact with one another? And what are ways that students can kind of combine their interests, particularly for those who are interested in majors that we don't have, like marine biology or ecology? How do they kind of pursue those specific interests?
I think
oh, Bethany, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think one thing that's speaking to that last part of your question specifically, there is so much space for student-driven interests in research. And even if there are not professors doing research in exactly the thing that you are interested in, often someone will be willing to advise you and step out of their comfort zone a little bit to support a student-led project. I know the work that I'm doing right now is like not specifically what my research advisor is into, but I'm interested in ecology. It's a specific area because I'm also an environmental policy major and I'm interested in how like cities interact with animals. I was able to say, hey, this is something that I'm interested in. I would like to dive into this more. And I have, someone who's really supporting me through that, but I'm also doing some of that learning on my own. And that's been able to be a big focus, even though my major is biology. I'm able to like narrow into that interest.
Professor Weiss, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I think she covered most of it. There's plenty of opportunity. And I guess one thing that I was going to say is while we have a biology major and a molecular and cellular biology major from biology, we have biochemistry and chemistry from the chemistry department. We may not have a marine biology major or an ecology major. I guess I would actually argue that that is a strength, that having, even if you know you want to be a marine biologist, having a bit of a broader basis of your education and your training at an undergraduate level, I think is a strength moving forward. You will have plenty of time in your career from a biology major who does research with our marine ecologist to go on and become a marine biologist, right? It is a stepping stone and it gives you a broad, very solid basis for whatever you're going to move forward to do. I will say, I am trained as a behavioral ecologist. I'm now doing microbial ecology. I did PCR for the first time like 3 years ago. And you never know where your research and your interests are going to go. So even if you think, I know I want to do marine biology, I don't need to know about microbes. Well, hey, guess what? There are microbes in marine ecosystems and we have someone who studies that. So breadth is good.
Sounds like it. So this question is for the students. What are you hoping to do after graduation if you have that part figured out yet?
So after doing research, I kind of realized like research is something I really enjoy. So I'm probably like looking at grad school, I guess. Yeah, and that was definitely because of like the research opportunities here. If they weren't here, then I wouldn't have known that that was even something that I was interested in.
I have a similar situation to Anjali. I started out on a pre-med path here. And then through doing research, I learned that I didn't really want to necessarily treat people. And I realized that what I enjoyed was research. And so then I kind of tailored my classes more towards going and getting a PhD in most likely microbiology.
I am a little bit of a different direction. I'm really interested in kind of practical applications of a science degree in resource management or working in conservation. So I'm planning to take some time off of school after graduating in the spring and then likely go back for a master's program that's more specific in a resource management field.
Great. So you can see lots of diverse different plans and interests, which all sound really, really exciting. Just a reminder, we are taking questions in the Q&A section, so feel free to pop your questions in and we can answer those to the best of our ability. I want to go back to something, Lauren mentioned her interest initially starting out as pre-med, and I'd love to ask our faculty members on this panel, how do pre-med students prepare for medical school? How does what are ways in which they can really prepare for a really competitive application process and pursue those kinds of careers in health and medicine?
I'll take that one. So we have a whole office of health advising for students who are considering a pre-med or pre-dental path, and they offer advising starting right at the beginning. So if you know that you're interested in pursuing a career in health, I highly recommend that you start with them right away. They will guide you on paths and help you think about, how should I be spending my time and curriculars or extracurriculars in college to benefit me. What kind of classes do I need? In this year with COVID, we've had the ability to take classes pass fail and navigating, should I take my organic class pass fail, or should I take it for a grade, and what will med schools think about that? They offer that advice. In addition, a lot of pre-med students are interested in research and do get to do that sort of research. And then the other thing that we have is we actually have mock interviews. So I serve on that committee where we actually have students come in for a mock medical school interview. We actually have a lot of alumni come back. So maybe a student who graduated a year or even 5 years ago will come back on campus and have their CV and be sort of get a bunch of questions from some faculty members and some of the health advising staff to mimic what would happen in a med school interview or a dental school interview. So we have a lot of really great advising opportunities for that.
And can I just add, I recently came across a statistic that nationwide success rate of universities getting students into pre-health schools and pre-health programs is about 45%. And with our wonderful HPAC colleagues, University of Puget Sound is at 85%. So we have a very high success rate of getting our applicants into professional programs.
Absolutely. And for those who are interested in more information, on our website, the Health Professions Advising Office does have a great section just for prospective students, including an FAQ, examples of some of the medical schools that our students have applied and gotten into. So it's a really great resource. Just go to our website and you can learn more information about that. So let's pivot to something a little bit lighter. I think one of the stereotypes about science majors perhaps is that, you're really busy and it's a really serious kind of thing with a lot going on. So what do students do for fun? How do they have balance in their lives and kind of focus on things, make room for things that are outside of their major? You can take a few minutes to think about it if you need to.
I think this all feels a little bit different right now, but pre-COVID, I know one of my big sources of fun and something that's extracurricular releases, I play a sport, and I think having student athletes at UPS, I think there are so many student athletes. I play a club sport, but there are a lot of varsity student athletes as well that are able to balance their time to be involved in athletics and also science majors and very busy. And even for people who it's just like they're in club soccer, like to go kick a soccer ball around or work out, we have a great gym. I think all of those things are really accessible and a very fun way to balance time.
Adding to that, our school has really good resources, especially in terms of getting like free bus passes. So you can go out, especially if you don't have a car or a way to get around, to go out and see the Tacoma area. My friends and I, we go hiking almost every weekend at Point Defiance. It's a beautiful national park. There's a lot of easily accessible things to do in the area, which is great.
Thanks for that. So I know for a lot of the folks listening in on this webinar, many of them are from outside of the Western Washington or Pacific Northwest region. So I'd like to ask folks to describe, what is it like in Tacoma? What is campus like? Does it rain as much as people think it does? Tell us about our location and not only how it connects to the educational experience, but ways in which students and faculty can take advantage of where we're located.
I'm a big fan of Tacoma and of this neighborhood specifically. I really enthusiastically chose to stay here when we had the option to move home with online school. I just think it's beautiful, and there are amazing flowers in the spring, and I ran to the ocean this morning before class, and it's a really lovely place to be outside. I have always lived in the Northwest, but I don't think that the rain is as stifling as it is stereotyped to be the sad Seattle area. It was beautifully sunny today, even though it's December 1st, I guess. And I like studied in the courtyard here on campus and threw a Frisbee on the field. And it's a really beautiful place to live, I think.
I agree with what Bethany was saying. So I actually came and applied. Well, I applied to the school without ever visiting the campus. And so when I got in, I came and visited, and I just fell in love with the campus and the area around it. The campus is beautiful, but it's also, there's a lot of areas to sit outside and do work. And as Bethany was saying, the rain is definitely not as big as a deal as I thought it was, because I come from California where we don't get rain. So it was not a huge change.
And just so folks know, we do have a great virtual tour that's on our website. So if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, I keep plugging our website, but if you go to pugetsound.edu, bottom right-hand corner, there is a virtual tour. It's narrated. It gives you a sense of our 97-acre campus. We also do offer some follow-up sessions. If you're interested in learning more, we have My Life as a Logger, which is a student-led kind of snapshot tour of campus that's offered through our campus visit program through Zoom. And that's daily, as well as lunch with a logger, which is every day at noon, where you can have lunch with a current student virtually through Zoom. So we definitely want to encourage you to take advantage of some of those resources. We got a question in, this is specifically for Anjali. Are there opportunities for non-music majors who were active in youth orchestra to participate in an ensemble like an orchestra? Yeah.
Yeah, you really don't have to be a music major. I thought like, oh, like if I want to do music, I should probably double major in music. But even if you don't major in music, you can do like so many things. Like the ensembles, all the ensembles are open to anybody. You can also, like, I take guitar lessons for credit, and then I perform for a jury every semester. So you really, like, it's something that you can do on top of whatever you're doing, and it's pretty fun. It's fun and it's easy to manage, and you definitely don't have to be a music major. There are like music theory classes that you could take, like, if you're interested, but you can still participate in music.
Wonderful. Okay, so we've had some really great questions coming in from the audience, and I think we're going to kind of wrap up and maybe we can each go around and share our thoughts on this one. But for most of the students watching, they are applying to college right now. So what advice would you give to students who are starting their college journey? Are there any particular tidbits or words of wisdom that you'd like to pass on, or things that you wish you knew when you were in their shoes?
I guess one thing that really helped me that I remember like sitting down with my parents and talking about is that there isn't just like one perfect answer of what your college experience is going to be like. I ended up at UPS, like it was not my top choice. I thought when I was applying to college, I actually took a gap year and applied to UPS during my gap year, and I love it here. So there's a lot of different ways that you can be happy with the outcomes. And I know that's a really stressful process, but I think you will find a place that works for you. And it's not necessarily that there's one perfect place, but college is great and it'll work out.
Lauren or Anjali, do you have any other ideas? That was a great response, Bethany. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think like it is really stressful. I remember like having such a hard time deciding between places, because like you may not necessarily like you feel like you're truly making like a well-educated decision, I guess. Like I don't know, for me, I was like, I don't really know that much about schools or like what it's gonna be like when I go there. But I think at the end of the day, like it'll be okay, and I hope that you like find a good community, like a place that makes you happy and that you can feel like you collaborate. Also, no matter where you go, one thing I would suggest is go to office hours because that'll matter wherever you go. So make sure you go to the office hours.
Absolutely. And Lauren?
I agree with what Anjali and Bethany said. Kind of taking more like once after you get in, take time to take classes that you want to take just because you're interested in them. I didn't do that for my first 2 years, and I am now minoring in sociology and anthropology. So take time to take classes that are outside your major and may not necessarily be exactly what you want to do.
Wise words. And what about our faculty members, Professor Weiss, Professor Kessel?
I'll go first. Well, first, I was going to also say what Anjali said, go to your office hours. That's no matter where you go, your first year, go to office hours and get to know your professors. You're going to need a letter of rec for something before you know it. And they need to know who you are. And also, I think it makes it easier when you do have bigger problems in the class with a question that you can't quite figure out the answer to. It's just getting to know your professors and letting them get to know you is important. The other thing I would say, if you're here, you're probably interested in science. I highly recommend study abroad. I think it's a really unique chance that you have during college. Not everyone can do it, but if you can, I recommend trying to figure it out in your schedule. And for some of our majors, I know it can be more challenging. So like in chemistry, I obviously was a chemistry major in college and I did not study abroad during the school year because it seemed too complicated. I could have done it. But start early, start talking to your advisor early if you're interested in it, even if you're, an engineering major and the only place you can take engineering classes is somewhere where they speak English. Talk to them because there are more options than you think out there. So.
All right, I think everyone has given you some really great points. I guess I would echo what Bethany said, that there are lots of ways to create a happy path for yourself. Go where your gut is telling you and surround yourself with happy, kind people. I think that's the most important thing I can tell you. And I know from my colleagues and my students are amazing and kind people. So if that's important, come on and join us.
Yes, very true. And speaking of joining us, we would love to see your application. So for those of you who are still in the process of applying to colleges, remember that our regular decision deadline is January 15th. So you have about a month and a half to get your application to be a logger in. So you can get started at commonapp.org. Do remember that we are test optional, so you do not need the SAT or ACT to be considered for admission. And all applicants are considered for scholarships, merit scholarships up to $30,000 per year with no extra application. We do recommend for those of you who are eligible that you submit your FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. That is what we will use to determine your eligibility for need-based financial aid. So definitely get that in along with your application. Remember, it's due January 15th. And if you have questions, whether it's about the application process, about scholarships, or about our academic and student life opportunities, our admission counselors are excited to work with you. So you can definitely reach out to us. We are working remotely, but we're checking our emails, we're answering our phones. So get in touch with us at admission@pugetsound.edu. And feel free to join us for any of our following upcoming information sessions, the Lunch with a Logger, or the My Life as a Logger snapshot tours. You can look on our website for more information there. So we are nearing the end of our hour. I'd like to extend a huge thank you and appreciation to our faculty and student presenters, panelists today. They were really wonderful, and I am grateful for both their time and your time. And best of luck, everybody, on the college search process. Like our panelists mentioned before, it can be stressful, but it will definitely work out. And no matter what, you're going to find a place where you'll definitely thrive and be able to move on. So have a great night. Thank you so much for joining, and take care. Bye-bye.